Hello, this is Ron Nutter with another edition of Tech Bites with Ron Nutter. This time I managed to get an interview with Scott Empson. This was one that had not initially been on my list to do, but in having a quick side conversation with him, I found out, just as Paul Harvey would say, there was more to the story, and I think you'll find that how he got started with doing the command line books for both CCNA and CCNP is well worth the listen. And here's the interview. Hello, and this is Ron Nutter again with Tech Bites with Ron Nutter, and this time I've managed to lasso just as he thought he was leaving the author signing desk. A gentleman that everybody should know. If you don't know Scott Empson by name, you will know by this book, because if you don't have one of these, where have you been? Because this has helped me on more than one certification exam. And before we got started, Scott, you were telling there's a little bit of a history to this that not everybody may know about how you got started.
Yeah, there's a bit of a history. I'm a college professor, and I teach high school students and college students, university students, and college professors, teachers, because I was part of the Cisco Academy program, and I still am. And I would teach students these commands, and they're learning brand new for the first time. And they would always come up to me and they'd say, Scott, these the commands are easy, but there's so many of them, and I'm getting overwhelmed with all the commands. So I encouraged my students to create what I call an engineering journal. It's a little coiled notebook, and you would write down whatever you needed to learn, whether it's a command, a diagram, highlight it, circle it, make it your own little cheat sheet, only it's in a coiled notebook. And I let my students use this in class during labs. I even would let them use it on their practical labs, like a practical final lab exam, because in the real world you have access to material, but you don't want to walk around with a big thick stack of books around there, because it gets
somebody do that at an
it's a little cumbersome, right? So I had this idea of the coiled notebook. So in 2004 at Networkers, I went up to Cisco Press and I had my little coiled notebooks, and I said, hey, do you think there's a market for this for students? And they said yes, and they said, and we did some research and they found out that there was going to be a book. So we created a book for the Cisco Academy, and it was paired exactly with the Cisco Academy chapter and line, whatever they were doing in their chapter. I had a chapter of commands, and that's what these books are. I then revved that to turn it into this version that you have here, the CCNA Portable Command Guide. And we grouped all the routing stuff together and all the switching stuff together because it was out of order, added some more, and we came out with this. And this is where it's been now going 12 years. It's the 4th edition. It just came out last month. It is tied into the new certification exams. So if you want to do the 2-step process, ICND 1 and 2, get your CCNP first and then get your CCNA, this will help. If you want to go just for CCNA and do the composite, the big exam, this will help. This does not have the theory. Okay, if you want theory, go get Wendell Odom's books, okay? Because Wendell is fantastic. We all know Wendell Odom. He's got amazing
We are not
books.
worthy.
Absolutely. I am the opening act. Wendell the Rockstar is right now doing his book signing. So, and I'm fine with that. I will ride his coattails forever.
Because you've got some of the commands in here that are unique to the new exam, where you go in and activate iOS software licensing. You didn't have to do that before iOS 15.
Absolutely. So when they come out with new product and new concepts and new skills that are required, the books then would reflect that. So chapters on iOS licensing. We have, there's a diagram in here. What's the difference between the old iOS train, the 15 or different versions of iOS? Did you need this or that or whatever? And now they're down to 4, right? And so you've got your base license, and then you've got your feature sets that you activate. Very simple. It's in the book. When they have new concepts that are brought in, we bring them into the books here. These are commands only. So if you can't remember how to turn on MD5 authentication and OSPF, because you've done it once last year and you can't remember how to do it again,
and you didn't write it down in your journal.
You didn't write it down in your engineering journal. You put it. It's in the book. The other thing that we do in these books is, I created this once again as an educator. At the very end of the book, I actually have an appendix of, well, one, hex, the decimal, the binary conversions, because that sucks to memorize those, so you don't want to do that. But we created an appendix called Create Your Own Journal. Just some blank lines, right? And it's not to add the page count or anything else like that. It's for you to write your commands that are meaningful to you in your environment.
because I've kept the book for years and finally transcribed it into Evernote when I lost my book not once but twice and thought I wasn't getting it back. But there's something to be said for when you've written it down, just seeing your own handwriting will trigger something to where you'll have it back.
Absolutely. You want to put this, you want to make this your engineering journal. You want to write something down in your own words so that it makes sense to you. So if you read through a textbook and you didn't quite understand it, or you're reading a white paper and you didn't quite understand it, but if you write it down and it makes sense to you, then it's valuable to you.
Because that's what matters. It makes sense to you.
Absolutely. My engineering journal would not be your engineering journal. So make this your book. Put in your commands. I focus in on, obviously, CCNA, but sometimes at your job, you do more than CCNA. Oh, it's like...
Oh, no, that wouldn't happen.
So I have to work on an ASA. ASA is not part of the CCNA curriculum or content, but you have to work on ASA. So go into those back pages, you write down some ASA commands, or a little ASA diagram, whatever you need. It's your book.
And that's, once you start doing it and you find the style that works for you, folks, this can save your bacon more than you can think. Well, Scott, I had you tied up a lot longer than I had expected, but thank you very much.
Not a problem. I appreciate the opportunity, and like I said, if you want commands, great little book. You want theory, when to load them, but thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. And there will be links on the video when this posts to where you can buy all the different command books, because needless to say, with the new stuff that's coming out, I'm going to be adding these to my collection because I don't like getting caught off guard and having to search hours through a couple of hundred PDFs. So thanks, everybody, for watching.
Well, I really appreciate Scott's time on doing the interview. That was something, as you can tell, we had a lot of fun. It was very impromptu. We really hadn't rehearsed anything, and these are books that really should be in your library. Some of them are so new they don't have the latest versions out yet. What you see on your screen right now is the latest CCNA version for the new exam. So if you go to ronnutter.com/CCNA CLI, you'll be taken to the page where you can get your copy at the best price you can. Anytime you go to the Cisco Live Conference, they're always going to have good deals in the Cisco Press Store, and that was one thing. If I hadn't been shipping enough things back, I probably would have picked some up myself, but I'll just have to get some for my library later, because this is very handy, especially when you get into some of the licensing commands. And then we've also got the ones for the CCNP route. They've got CCNP switch. Check your versioning when you go to buy these. Now, the CCNP route one is available at CCNP CLI. They should match the exam numbers that you're going to be taking. And there will also be, sometimes maybe if they've updated it since one release to another, make sure that you've always got the date closest to when you're taking your exam, just in case there's been an update, so that you can make sure you're going to have the best information at hand. And these are well worth adding to your library. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you with the next video.